get going. A very long while. It does feel like it takes forever, this, and you don't know whether it's actually working or not. Here we go. We're up and running now. So we got an excellent connection, and we're up and running. So we're now live. So see you next Thursday started. Right.
Right. So, good evening, guys.
So we're going to start.
Good evening.
Are we going to start with talking about last week's games then?
Yeah, very much so.
Okay.
Sure thing.
So we start with the Chelsea-Man City then. That was the early game, wasn't it? On the Saturday.
Yeah, I watched that. Do you know what? City played very well, you know. The difference Kevin De Bruyne makes to that side is immense. Everything seemed to go through him. It could have been 3, maybe 4-0 for me. I know Chelsea did have a couple of chances, but the play was mainly down to the dominance of Man City, and they looked a very decent outfit, which they haven't looked all season, but I thought they looked very well. And a good 1-0 win for them. I didn't think they'd get much there, I must be honest.
Really? Because Chelsea are too defensive for me.
All right. I think they're good all over the field. I think they're strong in every area, Chelsea. But Man City schooled them a bit there. So, you know, maybe they're not as good as I'm thinking they are.
No, I think the players, they've got a good, apart from the midfield, because Jorginho is crap and Kovacic isn't up to much either. But they, if Kante's not playing, they're half the team. But what I mean is, it's more the way they play.
He's very tight.
Too defensive.
Yeah, it's very tight, Chicho.
Yeah, and I think.
But he's very effective as a manager. You know, he gets results, and it might be the prettiest. Mourinho used to have a label on him as well that his football wasn't great, but what they do is they get results, and that's in the end that's the name of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, but they always seem to miss out on that. You know, going that extra level when it's like this kind of season, where a team can go and get 90 odd points. I don't think they'll do it because there's too many games where they'll go too defensive and they'll drop points in it. You know what I mean? Get a draw where they could have got a win.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, and they are very much like that at times. But I've seen them. I think they can come across as a really good footballing side against some sides. And some sides they don't seem to play well against. They played well against Liverpool. I thought they played very well against Liverpool.
But that's because they can sit back and defend.
Yeah. I think that suits them, the counter-attack, doesn't it? Rather than, make the play.
If they concede an early goal, they're in trouble, I think. Like they did against City, and then they just don't know how to come out and play.
Yeah.
That's their problem.
Two very good sides there, though, I must admit. Yeah. They're going to be up there, the two of them, aren't they? Second and third, by the looks of it.
They got to keep Kante fit as well.
What, behind Brighton, you mean, Bill?
Yeah.
Was that your missus there, Bill?
Yeah, she's putting me in again.
Okay? Yeah, I was going to say, she seems like she's much better then. She's up and about.
Yeah.
Can't you poison her tea or something? Yeah, can't you poison her tea or something? Keep her quiet.
Yeah.
My missus is listening live now, so I just wanted to say a quick shout out to her. Hi, Susie.
Is she?
Hello, Susie.
Yeah.
Oh, why are you listening to this? Have you not got anything better to do? Isn't it like the early hours of the morning? Come on. It's not like he's got anything good to say anyway. Bless her. What have you
did you watch the
game? To do this?
Rob, did you watch the game?
At the same time as the two early kickoffs were on, we had the AFL Grand Final, Trista's favourite sport. So the Grand Final for that was on. So we'll I was at my missus' house, so me and my brother-in-law were flicking between, because the AFL game was a bit of a blowout towards the end. So
Right.
me and my brother-in-law were flicking between the AFL game and because he goes for Manchester United, so we're kind of watching a bit of both. So I didn't see any of the Chelsea game, although one of my best friends is a Chelsea supporter, mad Chelsea supporter, and he was messaging me throughout, and he was very disappointed with how they were playing. And he just said to me, City for one of the first times this season actually looked really, really good. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be up there, City. There's no doubt about it. You know, and as I say, with De Bruyne back, he makes hell of a difference to them. Everything goes through.
Definitely, he's a top-class player.
Yeah, he is quality, absolute quality. Right, what's our next game, Trish?
Well, just while we're on that, none of you got the score right. You all went for Chelsea to win. All of you.
All right.
So, none of you got it.
Yeah.
Bloody idiots. Anyway, yeah.
You have a blip.
Man United Villa next. None of you got this one right either.
I can't even remember my prediction.
I thought that was close there.
You and Rob both went for draws. Deeps went for Man United to win, which was obviously stupid. I mean, who's going to think United to beat Villa? We must have been drinking heavily that day.
Yeah, decent. I said last week about Villa being a decent side. They are a decent side, you know. They've got some very good players and they play well as a team. You know, they're a proper unit and they deserve to beat Man United for me.
It's just a shame Klopp cost the United the win, though, by stopping them getting any penalties ever again.
Yeah.
Well, Matty Target had a pretty bad miss early on in the game, about the 15th minute. They should have been up early. They actually had a very good first half. So, as I was, skipping between the AFL and that game, I was sitting there. I'm like, United's in trouble here. They're not playing well at all. Villa looked threatening. I'm pretty sure they had another chance as well. Maguire made a usual Maguire comical error at the back with the Gea that almost cost them a goal there as well. So they were kind of lucky to not have conceded as early as they did towards the end. What do you make of that goal? Because I think Ole was saying after the game that he thought it was offside.
Oh, ridiculous.
He bounced it, wasn't he?
He's talking out of his ass. Did you see his cut at the press conference afterwards where he went on for about 20 minutes about it?
Yeah. He's a joke, isn't he? He really is. But did you see the miss by Bruno?
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, my God.
That ended up in Villa Park.
I didn't expect that.
I got my score right, I think.
I did not expect him to miss.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if things
behind
the scenes there.
Poor penalty.
Did you see the goalie asking for asking for Cristiano to take it? You come on, you take the pen.
Yeah, I saw that when he was getting ready to take the penalty. As they were showing the footage, I could see I couldn't really obviously read what he was saying, but with his mouth, but you could see something was going on there between Emi Martinez and Ronaldo. Yeah. I'm thinking, I wonder what he's saying to him here.
Yeah, and he just went for too much power. You can have too much power, can't you? It's a little bit of pace, but he just went for an absolute blast, and it just went miles over the bar. It's a terrible effort of a penalty for me.
And he's usually pretty good from the spot. So.
He looked low on confidence to me.
I think Martinez might have wound him up, in that thing.
Could have been.
Yeah. He did, Trish, yeah. It was all good in the end.
That was hilarious, though. That was one of the best penalties misses of all time, that one.
Miles over just over the bar, miles over. Poor penalty. But they didn't deserve to get anything out of the game. What I seen of it, I thought Villa were the better side, created more chances. So I don't think United got what they deserved out of the game, which was absolutely nothing. And that's the way they've been for most of the season. They have got some good results, don't get me wrong. They had some great results. But when it comes to, you've got to beat the Villas of this side if you're going to challenge, of this world, and you're going to challenge. And that's why I don't think they're going to be challenging. They're more challenging for fourth than what they are 1 and 2 for me.
Defensively, still doesn't look anything's changed to me. Hats off to Tris for calling it with the arrival of Varane. Yeah, everyone was, all the friends and people I know here, when United signed Varane, they were all up in hands and they were all happy. And I remember I was thinking, well, is he going to be that good? And obviously Tris had a lot to say about it, and I was listening to what he said, and what I've seen so far, he just looks like a quicker version of Maguire.
Yeah, he's he all said he was the second coming. He was going to sort everything out, and it hasn't panned out that way yet. I'm not saying it can't, but it hasn't panned out that way yet.
It's exactly what I said. Headless chicken.
Yeah, I think they've got a few problems.
Tall, but he's strong, but he's not.
You can only call it Trisha.
Headless chicken, just like Maguire. So scary. I just don't understand why they didn't see that before they bought him. It just feels like it's another one of those. He's a big name. We'll buy him.
Yeah.
Anything else to add on this game?
Yeah. And he's still playing McFred in the middle. And it's just not working, is it? Only about still playing McFred, you know what I mean? In the middle. It just doesn't work for them, does it? It's not working. They're a great bunch of individuals, but as a team, as a unit, they're not very good at all, They're not a team who you say, they're going to put a good run together, because they make too many mistakes at the back.
They don't look like they're actually coached as a team.
I just don't know how Fred gets into that team.
No, I don't. I really don't.
They don't have anyone else. That's the thing. It doesn't matter, 'cause
I think you're right, Tris. I think the coaching's very poor. But that's down to Ollie, and, until they pull the plug on him, it's going to be the same.
Yeah, but they won't, will they? So hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll keep him for a few more years.
Surely after the track. Surely after, like we were discussing last time in the transfer window, surely that they could see that there's a major issue there. And surely they can see, if we can see it, I don't know how they can't, that Fred is obviously not good enough, and they do have a problem in that midfield. So I don't know why they never went out and, signed a number 6 or someone that's going to fit him.
Yeah. Yeah, I was shouting out for Declan Rice, for them, or someone of that ilk, to run that midfield. And they've got no one in there. Matic comes in, and Matic, Basuma, Why didn't they go for Basuma? They spent all that money on Jadon Sancho. I know he's my pet hate at the moment, but they spent all that money on Sancho, and he hasn't drawn a tap, has he? For an £80 million player or whatever they paid for him. He's not producing the goods.
Bad sign.
Do you think it would have been a bit different if Ronaldo hadn't come in with the Sancho?
I don't know, I'm not a big fan of Sancho. You obviously picked up on that, but I don't think he offers much when I've seen him play. And I've seen him for Dortmund, I've seen him for England, and I think he's very weak. But I'm not saying he can't go good, he's only a young lad. But I think he's a poor signing for them. I think Cristiano Ronaldo is a good signing for them.
Yeah.
I know he's a bit of a showman, but he'll always get you goals. He'll always get you goals.
But he doesn't do much else. He doesn't do anything else at all. If you watch him, And that's a
No.
problem with a team like United because they don't press. They don't have the rest of the team working to cover for him. You've got players like Pogba who will do nothing off the ball as well. You've got so
Yeah.
basically they've got not got enough. That's why it changed the game when they brought in Cavani, like in the last night. So
Yeah.
because he
He'll
does
always
do
give you
work.
something, Cavani.
Oh, and he
Yeah.
plays his socks off. So it changes things.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say about Cristiano Ronaldo, he does give you that goal threat. Doesn't he? He does give you the goal threat.
But
yeah.
But he doesn't work hard enough. That's the problem. Not anymore.
He's another individual in a team of individuals, and that's all.
Very much so.
As good as he is an individual.
Agreed totally.
Well, we can't say much more about United, can we? Because they got beat.
Yeah. Shall we move on to the next game then? It's only it's a relegation 6-pointer. This one was Everton versus Norwich.
Go on, mate.
You all got the correct result, though none of you got the correct score. So you all got 1 point here.
Yeah. Yeah, I went for 1-0, and it was closer for me because, to be honest with you, Norwich posed a bit of a threat to Everton, and they had a couple of early chances, and they could have been 1 or even 2 up at one stage. But once Everton scored the goal, they settled down a bit, and they played not bad. They weren't great by any means. What's happened at Everton is they've got a few injuries, like Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin are injured, and Everton can't afford to have injuries to the better players because the squad just isn't strong enough. And we're going to struggle as a team. And go on, Tress.
I was just going to say, Calvert-Lewin, your play is built around him, so that makes a huge difference when he's out.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And Richarlison, as much stick as he gets, and he dives all over the place, we all know that. But is it the energy he brings and the goal threat he brings makes Everton tick?
I do agree with you.
And without them 2 players, we're just an average side, an average run-of-the-mill side, and we could be a bit better. But that's up to Benitez, He's doing his best, and he's been getting results. We're still right up there. I know it's early days, but at least they're playing for the shirt, and that's all Evertonians want. Players who give 100% and work the socks off and just try as hard as they can. And Benitez has got them playing that way. So, as an Evertonian, I'm quite happy the way things are going at the moment. I know things can change, but I'm quite happy at the moment as a Blue.
I was surprised Norwich got one, though. I thought you'd roll them over dead easy. Because they were awful, to be fair, Norwich.
Yeah. 2-0 was probably flattered Everton a little bit. But, watch us.
No, I was waiting for you, mate. Go on, carry on.
Think you've gone off there, Trish,
No. Have I?
Oh, sorry.
Have I?
Oh, no, just saying. I said a lot about Everton. Yeah, they were a bit lackluster, Everton. But it's only to be, expected with no signings this year, no big signings. They got Gray and they got Townsend, who have done really well for them.
Mm.
But they're still lacking quality, and we are in the process of getting rid of quite a few players which we need to get rid of. So, all in all, I think Everton are doing okay.
Mm.
What do you think you're aiming for this season, Bill?
With this Trish?
Is he there?
Yeah. I was saying, what do you think you're aiming for this season?
What I'm hoping is a top 10 finish. A top 10 finish. I'd say a top 10 finish. I'd be happy with. Anything higher, great. 7th, 8th. Up there, if we get a bit of a run together, maybe sign someone in the January window. But, things aren't great all over the club. Yet James Rodriguez, who didn't want to actually play for the club, certainly didn't want to work for his money. We've got rid of him. And then we had the Gbamin incident last week, where he's played 2 games in 2.5 years, and he goes and gets himself done for drink driving.
Yeah,
which isn't great. It's a bit of a piss take on the club, I think. He's looked after him, and you could do without things like that. That doesn't help, And I was very disappointed with Gbamin over that. I think he's a decent player, but these players have got to get their act together. They can't just, fairly big fee, 25 million. It's on decent money, and they shouldn't do that to the club. They've got to show more respect to the club and the fans, for me.
Yeah, it seems to be common practice in footballers, doesn't it? Where they all seem to think they're above the law. Yeah,
they do, Trish. Yeah, but it's not very nice for the fans when they do that. The club are looking after them, giving them everything they want, and then they go and do a stupid thing like that. It makes me blood boil at times. But that's football the way it is, I'm afraid, at the moment.
It's always been the same, though. Football has always been knobheads.
Yeah, there are quite a few of them, out there. Remember Jack Grealish doing the same in lockdown, and he wrote off like 3 or 4 cars for coming out of a party drunk, a party that shouldn't have happened during the pandemic. Just incidents like that, and now Gbamin, others, as you say, have done it, and it's just not very nice for the image of the game, and especially when it happens to your club. It's it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back with Everton at times. It's frustrating, very frustrating,
especially with a club that wants to be a community club.
Yeah. Which I think we are. I think we're a great community club. I think Tris, Everton in the communities do fantastic work. Probably one of the best out there, if not the best. But things like that happen, and it puts a bit of a blight on things, and it shouldn't happen. And you've got to get stronger with players. Players just can't treat clubs and the fans like that. And the punishments have got to be stronger. But, that's just maybe my take on it.
No, I reckon you're spot on. It's really irresponsible as well. So they should have stronger punishments for things like that. Shouldn't be breaking the laws, especially when you're, supposedly got to be a role model for all the kids and things like that. So I'm 100%.
Very much so, Rob, yeah.
And anyway, when you've got that much money, you can afford it. You can afford to get a taxi. Why do you need to drink and drive? This is what I don't understand. There's no excuse for it when you're a multi-millionaire footballer to not just jump in a taxi or pay for your mate to drive you.
I know, but I hated what a solicitor said. He come out with he does so much for charity. He provides funds for hospitals back home, and they should look at him as a lenient case because he's not familiar with the surroundings. What? And it's just a lot of bullshit. You know what I mean? That's what a solicitor come out and said.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
His thing was that it was his solicitor said it was 3 o'clock in the morning and someone needed picking up from the airport, and they were in a bit of a mess. And it's all just rubbish, you know what I mean?
He's a multi-millionaire. He could have phoned up, any taxi company in the area would have happily done it for, and paid. He could have paid for it. What's the issue?
A limousine, yeah.
Exactly. Jumping at, but I mean, there's absolutely no excuse for it.
No, I totally agree with you, sis. And that's sour. That's been a sour point with the lads on the, on the Everton page, and it's just not right, and it really irks me at times. Everton, they do. But I can't do nothing about it. I wish I could.
Yeah, well, there's not a lot anyone can do, really, sadly. They just seem to be a law to themselves.
Right. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
We'll move on to Leeds West Ham then, unless you've got anything else to add to that, Rob?
No, I agree with everything you're saying about the drink driving, and just like I said, it's really irresponsible. It's really dangerous as well. And if you're in a position of power as a professional footballer, you don't want to be letting the kids and all that see that kind of crap. So yeah, definitely against it. It happens here as well with our sport. It's happened here multiple times, and it's always a bad look. So yeah, no, not good enough. No. Harsher punishments. Just hopefully they learn their lesson, not do it again.
I don't know. Often they don't. I remember Jan Molby threw a strop because Liverpool wouldn't pay his wages when he was in jail for driving. Nothing's changed, has it, since then? No, that's honest truth. He threw a strop. He got really upset about it. Thought he was being hard done by. Can you believe it? I thought he was lucky enough to get the sack, basically, and I loved Jan Molby as a player.
I love Molby as a player.
But yeah. Anyway, we'll move on to Leeds West Ham now. And Billy got this spot on. 2-1 to West Ham. Deep's got the correct score, just Rob, who was useless again, didn't get it in.
Did you watch the game, Rob?
I saw bits and pieces of this one because I was in bed watching it. That Melier, I think I'm pronouncing it right. What do you think of him? He looks not bad.
Very good.
Yeah, he's
22, something like that.
Yeah, he's only young as well, so I think he's got a really bright future ahead of him.
Yeah. But Leeds... Go on.
Sorry.
Go on, Rob.
No, you go.
No, it seems a problem with Leeds at the moment. Bielsa's style, I love Bielsa, don't get me wrong, I think he plays great, attractive football, but they're so open. They are so open, and you can, they will score goals, but they'll concede all the time because they play so open, and the defence is so far apart, the centre halves, that they're always going to concede. And West Ham punished them. Another great goal, by the way, West Ham. And, they deserve to win because they're playing well. And, I don't like giving Moyes any credit. But he's done really well, and they are playing as a unit. The playing is a very strong side, and they're hard to beat. They're hard to beat at the moment. And I think, they thoroughly deserve their win. But I feel for Leeds, and we do. I love Bielsa football. I think he's got a great attitude, but they're not as good as they were last year, and so open that they're going to concede all the time.
You say that, but they struggled at the start of last season, for starters. They were the same last, at the beginning of the season, they were wide open, and they were struggling, they were conceding lots of goals. And this season, they're missing like 3 or 4 centre-backs from their team. We saw how that affected Liverpool, who have got, a much stronger squad depth than them. So, I don't think it is a problem as much as people think. I think they'll be all right once they get the full team back together and they get going. I think they'll be all right.
I fear for them to be in a relegation battle. I don't know that they've got the squad depth to handle if they are in a bit of a battle for down at the bottom there. And I think they might get in trouble and not be able to get out. I hope they do. I love Leeds United as a club. You know, a big club, and I like them being in the Premiership. But they got to be play more defensively or shore things up more than anything if they're going to succeed. Because I'd hate them to be in the relegation dogfight. But that's the way they're looking at the moment. Things might change. As you say, they did it last year. But, you know, I fear for them at the moment.
Yeah, people were saying the same sort of thing last season, though, if I remember rightly. So, yeah, I think they'll be all right. I think they'll just, as the season gets on, they'll get stronger and stronger the more they work with Bielsa's methods, like.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Yeah. I'd like to think so. But that lad's great, isn't he, up front, the lad who scored the goal. What's his name? The Brazilian lad.
Rafinha.
He's a player, isn't he?
Oh,
he is
awesome.
a player.
Awesome. He's the one he's the one I'd take at Liverpool out of any player in the Premier, you know, forward wise I'm talking about. Because obviously Basuma would be the one I'd take for midfield. But out of all the forwards in the Premier League, if you were taking one from another team, it'd be Rafinha would be my choice.
Yeah, he's a nice player, and he's a good, very
wonderful.
good player. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't like the look of that. Sorry.
No, go on, bro.
No, the Junior Firpo.
Yeah, Junior, yeah.
He lost when he played.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't look like
I'm not just saying
ready, is
own
he?
goal, but yeah, he doesn't look up to it. So far, it's still early to call. I know it's probably been a bit judgmental, but from what I've seen of him, he doesn't look that great.
No, but then Barcelona never buy good defenders, do they? They buy players who can play on the ball, but they can't defend.
Good point.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't expect him to be a good defender, to be fair.
Mm.
Well, West Ham deserve the win, and you know they're a match for anyone at the moment. They're going to give all the teams, even the top teams, hard games. And if you get points off West Ham, you're doing well.
The one thing with them is they're going to struggle if when Antonio goes out, because he will do. You know, he'll pull a hamstring or something. When he's out, they'll struggle again, and that's what's going to cost them. They need to make hay while they've got him in the team, don't they?
He's a handful, Lord Trish, isn't he? He is a handful.
He blunders his way through. You watch him and you're thinking, how has he still got the ball? Because his touch isn't that good. He's not like, you know, it's not silky skills. It's just power and pace and just powering through. Just smashes his way through, but it works. And it's great to watch.
It certainly does work, yeah.
His work rate is fantastic.
Yeah, big fan of his.
Yeah, I like it. He's one of those people you can't help but have admiration for, because he's done it by working as hard as as hard as possible, rather than being genuinely gifted with it. So he's just been able to saunter around like some players do. You know, he's had to earn what he's got, and I like that.
Yeah. The difference between him and Traore, he makes things happen, doesn't he? Whereas Traore of Wolves seems to have the same build, the same dynamic, but has got no finishing ability whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, they're just players who look alike, but they're nothing alike in the end.
Yeah. There's a good comparison, but just the other guy couldn't hit a barn door.
He couldn't hit a barn door if he was stood an inch away from it, let's be honest. Scary, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, that's nothing to do with Leeds and West Ham, though, is it? So we better not get going on that one. Yeah, we normally end up getting sidetracked. Let's try not to this time.
Okay.
So we'll move on to Leicester Burnley. None of you had this right again. So it was a 2-2 draw. You all went for Leicester. I think they're poor this season. I think they're really struggling. The lack of discipline's costing them. Maddison's been struggling with discipline for a while, and he's still mainstay of the team. I mean, and he's not playing well because he's not disciplined.
He's not playing, is he? He's coming off the bench mainly, Madison. He's been very poor, and it's coincided with Leicester being not at the best, certainly this season.
Yeah, they don't look good at all, do they? Did you see this game, Rob?
No.
I didn't watch this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, Burnley took the lead, and giving them a really good game, and in the last minute could have won it. That Wood had a goal disallowed. And to be fair to Burnley, it wouldn't have been a travesty if they had won it. To give as good as Leicester, and I was surprised how well he played, because my forecast was nothing like the result that it was, the 2-2. But, credit to Burnley, they worked the socks off and they give them a really good game, and we're unlucky in the end not to win it.
Leicester
I saw the.
Go on.
Sorry.
Go on, Rob. No, go on, Rob.
I saw the offside goal right at the end because I watched the highlights. Chris Wood just offside, so could have easily went the other way, and Burnley could have stole it. But it's a nice goal from Cornet. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Cornet.
Yeah, nice goal for him on his.
We'll accept
on his debut. It was a nice goal for him on his debut, and I'm going to keep my eye on him because I do remember a few years back while he was still at Lyon, I think it was.
Yeah.
We were linked with him to be playing down the left-hand side. I can't remember if it was for fullback, if it was before Robertson got signed, or if it was after for some depth on that left-hand side. But I definitely...
Wasn't it before Klopp?
Sorry. What was it before Klopp?
Yeah, I think it was to play down the left-hand side before Klopp arrived, I think.
Okay. I definitely do remember that we were linked with him and we're watching him, but that's why I'm keen to keep an eye on him this season to see how he goes. And he started off all right, so we'll see what happens.
Deep's made a good point on the chat. What was Pope doing for the Leicester goal, the second one? Anyone could, if anyone's got an answer for that, I don't think even Pope knows.
Answers on a postcard.
Yeah, because there's no way I can answer that. I can't understand what he's doing. But Leicester, to me, they look like they're turning into a proper Brendan Rodgers side. The defence is hopeless. They're all over the shop. They just are completely disorganised, and that's exactly why he's. That's exactly what he does. He can't organise a defence at all. Without Johnny Evans playing, they're a mess. Yeah, because he does it.
He's been a big miss for them. He's been a really big miss for them.
He's an excellent defender, I've got to say. I think he gets a very rough press because he had a few injuries at United, so never got to really establish himself properly. But I think he's a very, very good player.
Yeah, get rid of him and keep Phil Jones. Good idea. Yeah, very good idea.
God, we nearly ended up with him. He looked really good before he moved to United. I mean, what happened? Unreal, that one.
Yeah.
We'll see how long Vardy can keep bailing him out as well, because he started off the season pretty good, but let's see if his body can hold up for the whole season. And I fear for Leicester that, if he does start slowing down or the goals do start drying up from him, I don't know really where else they're going to come from.
I think you're right, Rob.
Yeah, I can't see Iheanacho doing it again. I think that was just a purple patch he went through last season, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Vardy, give him credit, he's got 2 good goals. He is a handful again, isn't he? He's, we were all expecting him to maybe be on the wane, but really, he's come out better than he was last year. At the moment, I'm not saying he's going to be like that all year, but he's been quality for them, and he's earned them quite a few points.
To be fair, I remember him playing well last season at the beginning. He just started to tire.
Yeah.
If I remember, and it was obviously an unusual season, so I think that probably played into his problems, and that's why he looked quite so finished.
Yeah, he's a good player, though, Tris, and he's a quality player.
He's the kind of player you hate to have, you hate to face, don't you? You just worry
Yeah.
when he's playing against you. You just think, oh, he could score here at any moment. You know what I mean? You're just always worried
Yeah.
about him. There's lots of players around that you just don't, they don't worry at all, do they? Opposition players, but him, he's always a threat.
Yeah. He'll always score goals wherever he's against.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what team you're facing. He's got a chance of scoring.
Yeah, pretty much so.
And he works hard as well, to be fair to him. Shame he's such a
He
knob,
does, yeah.
isn't he?
Yeah.
Because he is a complete and utter bellend. Let's be honest. Him and his wife are just... they're just the total epitome of the footballers' wives thing, aren't they?
Yeah. The Paul Beckhams, yeah. Paul Beckham of the Beckhams.
They're embarrassing. Anyway, we'll move on to Watford Newcastle now. Really exciting game, I'm sure you agree. Deep's got this spot on. Rob actually got a point in this one, which is a bit of a shock. And Billy got it completely wrong. So,
Right.
So 1-1 draw, obviously.
Yeah. I thought I'd put one all, but obviously never. But, Newcastle, they're always going to be that type of team, aren't they, who don't quite win games, They have a lot of chances. I thought they done well, what I've seen of them, and I've seen the highlights. But they had a few good chances. But they just can't seem to get over the line. And I think that's the Steve Bruce factor, I'd call it. He sets up teams to not be as dynamic. And you've got players like St. Maxim, who's a good player. The lad in midfield, good player. They've got a few good players, but not enough of them to make a difference.
They've also got
and they're going to struggle. Yeah, but they're going to struggle, aren't they? They're going to struggle all week. I see them not being near the bottom of the table.
They're a very poor side. I think it's more the problem is that there's too big a gap between St. Maximin and the rest. They're just basically giving him the ball and expecting him to make something happen. And virtually nobody else is really attacking, and that's where the problem lies for me. There's just not enough,
I agree.
They're not putting it through the midfield or anything. They're just trying to give it to him and let him do his thing, and that's not really a plan.
No, it isn't, no. So they've got a big lack of quality, haven't they, Newcastle? And, I don't think Bruce can get them over the line this year. I think they're really going to struggle.
Yeah, he's a limited coach. He's not the best tactically. He can do so much, but I think he might be at his limit now, mightn't he?
Yeah, I think we've said that before that Newcastle's ownership is not helping at all, and they're going to struggle until they get new owners who will probably bring in a new manager and a few decent players. That's their only hope. As a Newcastle supporter, you'd be hoping for something like that to happen, because at the moment they're going nowhere. They're treading water in the Premiership, and I'd like to see Newcastle, because of the fans. I think the fans are fantastic. I'd like to see them do well and have a good run, But at the moment, they are treading water.
Unless the fans stop moaning about Ashley though, and and stop complaining, which I fully understand why. Don't get me wrong, I'm fully behind them when they're having the protests against him, but it can't help the team. You know what I mean?
No, it's not helping the team. That's what I said. There's got to be some sort of resolution there to either carry on with what you've got and make the best of it, but they're in limbo at the moment. They're waiting for something to happen, and it's not on the cards at the moment. I wish it was, but it's not on the cards totally at the moment,
Well, they're still in that big legal battle with the league, aren't they? With the Premier League.
Yeah, they are, to be taken over. But it's not happening. It's not happening at the moment. I know COVID's got a lot to with that, all the court cases put back and everything. But they need a better resolution to the situation, and hopefully they'll get it sorted. I think they'll get a new manager, as I say, a few new players, and hopefully they can climb up the table a bit. Because it's not nice to see teams struggling like that, big clubs.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind if it was, if it was. Oh no, you said big clubs. I was going to say Everton, but sorry, misheard you.
You leave Everton alone. Man.
I'm only joking. I don't mind Everton doing well, so long as they're below us. I'm happy for them to finish second every season. Shall we move on to the probably the shock result of the weekend? Brentford Liverpool. None of you had this right either. Oh, wasn't it just? Rob, I think this one's up to you, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, go on, Rob.
What a game. So I was very excited to watch this game because I was eager to see my boys playing Brentford, who've impressed me so far this season. So all week I had a bit of excitement. I was getting ready for it. I was happy to see Curtis Jones get the start. And I was quite happy overall with the lineup. I was going to keep my eye on Robertson, as he hasn't had the best start to the season by his own standards. And I know he did have an injury coming in, but because Tsimikas has been playing so well, now I'm starting to really look at it and think, do you give him a rest for someone who is playing better than him at the moment? Unbelievable start to the game. 2 goal line clearances at each end. Matip got me a bit scared for a second when the ball kind of dropped before he cleared it, but trust him to know what he's doing, and he got a good clearance. So I don't know how it was still 0-0 after that.
Oh yeah, I remember that. My heart still hasn't stopped racing from that one.
But defensively, early on, we were looking a bit worrying, and I loved how Brentford looked like they came to play. It wasn't like a team, from what I saw, it wasn't like a team that was just going to, lay over and be like, oh, we're a newly promoted team, we're playing one of the better teams in the country. They actually came to play, so I did like that. They were playing well going forward. Tony was looking bright, Ivan Toney. I like the look of him, and he was winning a fair bit of aerial duels against Van Dijk and Matip. So that was, for me, a bit alarming as well, because usually they're quite good in the air. But then again, I haven't seen a lot of Tony other than him in the Premier League, so that could be one of his key strong points as well.
Cheers. That's what he does. He's a big target man of a player.
Yeah, he can play with his feet as well. Yeah, he can play with his feet.
He's a very good player, but his main strength is he's a target man. That's what he is.
It was clear to see that Trent was being a bit targeted down his side as well. I think that might have been just.
Hang on, were they targeting Trent or were they targeting the space when he got forward? Because for me, I couldn't see it. I think the problem was in the midfield and the defence, not what Trent was doing. He just wasn't good. Apart from his delivery was appalling, but his actual defending, I didn't think he was that bad. He did some good stuff. Covering behind quite a lot of the time.
Not to pick on Trent on a singular performance, but that side specifically, I could see him kind of getting down wide. So that obviously was some sort of tactic, like you said. It's probably because they noticed he was pushing up and they were trying to get that space in between there. But I did definitely notice that. And then their first goal. I mean, it's hard to watch when your team kind of collapses at the back like that. It was a clever little touch from Tony. I don't know if he thought it was supposed to, he was trying to backheel it in, but it was a touch that got through, and it looked like the whole defence fell asleep when the ball was played in. And I was starting to worry, but at the same time, I was thinking maybe this goal conceded was a bit of a kick up the bum. So, and it wasn't to be, but I was happy to see an immediate reaction with Jota's goal. Beautiful ball in by Henderson to find his head, and we've seen time and time again. Jota's very good, when it comes to aerial balls. So it's good to see him finish. And then not long after, you've got Jones' shot that got deflected onto the post. And then David Raya rips off an absolutely ridiculous save. I mean, I expect, again, Jota to be able to score from there. But at the same time, I was just wowed by how David Raya kept that out. So, hats off to him. He kept it at 1-1 at that stage, and going into the halftime, it could have easily been 2-1. But going into halftime, it was entertaining. I was panicking a little bit, but I was still pretty confident that we're going to put the game to bed in the second half. We started pretty lively in the second half, and I was liking what I was seeing. And then there was a brilliant ball over from Fabinho that Salah somehow just kept onside. I didn't notice I think whoever was playing at the far top of the screen, I can't remember if it was Canos or someone else that kept him onside. So, congratulations, Mo Salah. Yeah, 100th goal. Coolish slotted finish. Very happy with that. Then that's where Brentford started to, kick back at us. And Van Dijk and Matip ball watching. Very disappointed to cop the second goal the way we did. Scrambling, like 3 people on Trent on that side where he was, and you just look at all
against one,
we're all wearing those bloody yellow kits, and you're looking around the box, and they're just kind of standing there. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? This isn't just like we copped one goal from the start that we seem disorganised. It happened again in the same game, and I know we don't concede a lot of goals, and especially like that, so. It was a bit alarming to see. I felt Curtis Jones was playing well, and he capped off a good. He came off straight after he scored.
Yeah,
that was
really impressive.
That was a strange decision. That one.
He's really impressing me as a player. I think we're very lucky to have him. That's how I feel. I feel like we're lucky we've got a player like that. In my opinion, he's getting higher up on that pecking order. I don't want to bring up the Champions League game right now, but for example, he just showed it again against Porto. He was one of the best players on the pitch for me that game as well. So
in that one,
very, very, very impressed with Curtis Jones, and felt like it was a very strange decision to take him off. And then the last goal we copped, it's hard to even talk about because again. Terrible at the back. It's good to see for them, for a Brentford support, them to get the third goal to claw their way back in the game. I think it was his name, Johan Wissa, that got the goal. So, good on him for it. I was kind of, you're happy for a team like Brentford, but to watch us defend the way we did that game was very hard to watch. I read your match review, Tris, midweek, and you were spot on. It reminded me of that Villa performance was just. Shambolic at the back. Yeah, and it's not like we had, lesser grade defenders in playing. It was, 2 of our best defenders that we had in there playing. So, again...
this is what I worried about when we signed Van Dijk, is mentally he has these kind of games where he just doesn't turn up. He's not had many of them for us, thankfully. But in the past, it has been a major problem. I mean, look at him on the first goal. He's in the middle of the goal, marking no one, just stood in space, doing nothing, absolutely not affecting the play, and instead of actually doing something, he's just throwing his arms up and complaining. He could have been back marking someone. He could have been in a position to affect that play, and he didn't, because he didn't chase back, he didn't work hard enough, he just stood around. That's the problem for me, is him and Matip were just had an off game.
Yep.
What a game it was. Fantastic game, wasn't it? To watch for the neutral.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Well, Liverpool should have put it to bed early in the second half. They should have been 3-1 up, and then it was finished, I think, before they let them in. But what a game to watch. Excellent game to watch. That's what the Premier League's all about, and that's why it's the best league in the world. Because of games like that.
Yeah, good games don't have good defending. Let's be honest. When a defender,
that's fair
without
enough.
mistakes, football's a boring game to watch. When you get lots of mistakes, that's when it becomes exciting. So you can't really complain about that.
I forgot to mention. Sorry, Bill.
Go on. Go on, Rob.
Just Salah with the one-on-one that he missed. 9 times out of 10 he puts that away. And I can't be harsh on him because of how many goals and how good he has been for us. But that came as a bit of a surprise to me. I really thought. Because he had so much time, I don't know if he got caught in two minds of which way to go, but I definitely thought he was going to put that one. I think it would have been, I can't remember if it would have took us to 3 or 4-1 at the time. So,
don't you think Jota's was the big problem though? He's missed some.
Yeah.
He's worrying me. I'm not sure that he's anything more than substitute quality.
Oh, I like him. I think he deserves his place in the side.
But he's been awful, Billy. He can't pass a ball 2 yards.
Do you know what he does, Trish? He puts the ball in the back of the net. That's what
but he doesn't, though. He hasn't. He scored. Yeah, he scored a couple of goals, but he's missed more. He's missing loads as well, and he's been, and if he doesn't score, he's a liability on the pitch. He doesn't work hard, and he did it at fair play. He picked up his work rate in the last couple of games. To be fair to him. So, but before that, he'd been awful. Apart from the goals he scored, literally everything else he did was just like, oh my God, what are you doing? I mean, so many attacks break down because the ball ends up at his feet, and he gives it away when there's an easy pass on. I mean, it's 2-yard pass, and he'll miss it, and you're thinking, oh my God, how can he do it? His first touch is off, and it's a shame because get him in the box. He's fabulous. Sometimes.
I know he misses some chances, but he's scored some very important goals. And, Salah, who I'm a massive fan of, Mo Salah, and fantastic player, but he misses a lot of the chances as well. But, they get in the positions to make them chances, and that's what you want off your forwards. Okay, he's not the greatest finisher, Jota, but he's scored some great goals, and he's earned Liverpool a few points, and I think he does well. I think he's a good addition to Liverpool's side.
I think I like him. Don't get me wrong. It's not that. I'm just saying I don't think he's good enough to be a starter.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. Well, Bobby creates more, does more for the team, or obviously Harvey Elliott's not fit. But I'd rather have someone like Jones playing that role than him. At the moment, Jota just doesn't do enough on the ball for me, and it's becoming a problem. Part of the reason why we conceded so many goals against Brentford is because he's losing the ball. If we keep the ball, you don't have so many. You know what I mean? If you keep the ball better, they don't have so many attacks.
I can see your point. But for me, he's a great addition to the Liverpool squad. And at the moment, I think he's a better option than Bobby. I know you obviously
on the left wing,
so.
He's a better player than he is. Centre forward, he's terrible. I'm sorry, I just disagree with you completely. He just isn't. He can't link play at all. He can't pass. His first touch is poor. And he misses too many. When he plays on the left, all the good performances he's put in. All the good stuff he's done, even this season, Mane's been playing through, has moved into the centre and he's been playing on the left, coming off the left wing when he scored the goals. Always, if you look at him, he's always coming in off the left. That's where he's at his best. If he was playing there, then fine, but he's not the centre forward. Personally, Could you
move Moe or would you...
Mane over? I'd move because that works better.
You would have Mane in the middle and him on the left, would you prefer that?
Yeah, if it's got to be those three, I think Jota's got to play on the left, Mane through the middle, Salah on the right. But personally, I think Jota's a bench player is not as good for me. It's not the first choice. You know what I mean? If Bobby's off form, you put him in and then you play him from the left. I don't like him up front. To be honest, I'd rather give him Minamino a run. I think he's got something about him, and I think every time he's actually every time he's played well, he's been dropped immediately, and that bothers me because he shows good stuff. I mean, look at him in the cup game; he was brilliant. I know he didn't do a lot, but he did exactly what you need a forward to do. He scored goals, and then he gets dropped. And you just think
we almost stole. Sorry. I said we almost stole the game late as well with when Bobby came on. We had that chance right at the end, so that could have easily dropped in again. Some brilliant keeping from David Raya, but very very late in the game we could have stole that game. But it was very disappointing not to win it, considering the other top teams dropped the points on the same weekend. And, defensively, that was really worrying to watch. And I really hope it's just a one-off game. You'd rather it happen now. We didn't lose, so, it was great entertainment if you're a neutral supporter. But, yeah, I definitely can't be not happy about dropping points at Brentford. Hats off to them, and they came out to play and did well. But, defensively, both defences actually on the night weren't great.
No, it was a poor.
I might say it looked out to be a very good point away at Brentford. I think they're going to be a bit of a surprise this year, and they're going to take points off a lot of teams. And I think they are a bit of an unknown quantity, and they've come in and they've played good, decent stuff. They're hard working, and I think it might be a good point for Liverpool, to be honest with you.
But I was going to say that the thing about them is as well, they play a style that nobody else plays, so it's a completely different thing when you're coming up against them, because they play a mix of Burnley and football as well. You know what I mean? They're kind of like a cross between Burnley and Liverpool when you watch them play.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
They've got the battering ram forward in Tony, but they tend, they don't just hoof it long like Burnley have to, because they've got nothing else. Let's be honest, they've got nothing but two big forwards to it. They've got no real midfield or anything like that. But when you look at Brentford's midfield, they've got very good ball players in there, so they can play through the midfield as well. And they look, they've got a good side there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Hats off to them. They played well. And, I'm pretty confident we'll see him again next season in the Premier League. So, good on him.
Yeah, I think they'll survive. Okay, well...
I was actually happy. Sorry, I was just going to say, I was happy with the Liverpool supporters on the site. They give Brentford a lot of credit. I thought they might have had a little go at the team, but in the main, the supporters were saying, good luck to Brentford. They come out, they tried to play... they give us a real good game and deserve the point. And that's off to them. They never started saying we should be beating teams like Brentford. No, they were really complimentary to Brentford, and I like that.
Yeah, they're a good side, Brentford. I can see them doing well. I'm really impressed with them. Be interesting to see what happens with Frank when he moves on. Because Dean Smith, Warburton, all of them that have moved on from there tend to be a bit of a mix. Warburton's done okay, but not brilliantly. But then you look at Dean Smith, what he's done with Villa.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on then to Southampton Wolves, and Deeps was the only one that had the correct result. The other two were useless. So.
Right.
Yeah, it was 1-0 win to Wolves, this one.
Yeah, Wolves, I'm still unsure about them. I think they've got a lot of qualities, but I think they're missing Pedro Neto really a lot as an attacking force. But they're just not their finished article. They need a couple of players for me. But, they're doing okay without actually setting the world alight. And, okay, they got a win. Well done to them, but I thought it would have been more than I expected them, because I think Southampton are a poor side. And I think they're another team who are going to be dragged into the relegation battle.
I wonder how long Housenhuddle's going to last.
Yeah, I fear for him at the moment.
I don't think he's got a clue what he's doing. He sticks with players like Redmond and Gineppo, who are awful. It just doesn't work. Yeah, they're two awful players. I can see him getting the sack soon, definitely. But Wolves, they were awful the week before, and then all of a sudden they were great again.
Yeah, they're so up and down, aren't they? There's no consistency with them. But I think they're a half-decent side, and I like the manager. I like the way he sets them up. But they're not getting the result the great. I know they did on Saturday, but I still think they're a little bit short. I think I don't think they're going to be involved in any relegation battle. But, good luck to them, and I hope they do well because they do play a decent standard of football.
That's one thing Larg's brought in, and Large, whatever his name is, he's brought in good football.
Yeah.
Whereas under Nuno, they were dire to watch. They were really tedious.
Yeah.
Don't think much changed there either with Nuno.
No,
they're still.
We'll be getting on to him in a minute.
Yeah, that's the next one. But yeah, the Large has brought in. They're playing good football. They're looking a much better side. I think they'll be all right. And it was nice to see Jimenez get his goal at last.
Yeah. And he took it really well, didn't he? Lovely, but big brought it inside and scored. I was happy for the guy.
Yeah, it's nice to see that.
Could have had another one as well.
Yeah.
Oh, don't start picking at the man. He's just come back from a fractured skull. It's a miracle he's playing. It's all if you're picking at him because he could have scored 2. You miserable get. Oh, I tell you what. God help your kids when you have some. What do you mean you scored 7 goals in that match? You could have had 12, you useless get. That'd be you.
Hopefully Susie's asleep now.
Oh, trust me, if she's been listening to this, she'll be long gone. That's all she'll be doing. After the first 2 seconds, that'd have been. Once she did Billy's dulcet tones, she'd have been lulled to sleep.
She messaged me while we started, and she said she loved Billy's accent. It's so strong.
It's the only thing about him that's strong.
Yeah, it is at the moment. Because, yeah.
Now he's in his 170s, like strength's no longer a thing. Even his tea has to be weak. Oh, but
let's move on to
Arsenal Spurs. And none of you got this right, which I'm surprised at. I really thought it was obvious Arsenal would win this one because Spurs are just dreadful. And I know they had a few results, but like, it's just awful.
I was impressed by Arsenal, I've got to be honest. The first half, they were absolutely excellent. And, I did say, not picking myself up here, but I did say they would turn the corner. And they've got a few good results lately. They've moved up the table and they look okay. I don't really need players. They probably need a new coach. But good luck to them. They've done well.
Have they done well, or have they just played crap teams? I mean, Spurs are awful.
Yeah, but Spurs have been getting results, haven't they,
Yeah, but they've been fluking results. I mean, they've been worse than... when we talk about Man United just relying on individual quality, Spurs are even worse. They're hopeless to watch. You watch them and you think, how have they not lost 17-0? Because they just are... they're the worst team in the Premier League at the moment to watch. Absolutely appalling team.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
Doesn't look like Nuno's going to last too long.
I'm surprised he's lasted as long as he has. I mean, it was just didn't understand the decision, to be honest. I mean, he just isn't a good manager, is he?
No, I don't think so. And we were clamouring for it, our supporters, the Everton supporters were clamouring for Nuno. When we were looking for a manager and Benitez was mentioned, Nuno was odds-on favourites at one time to take over Everton. And I was trying to convince people, you don't want Nuno as your manager. And they were all saying to me, he's a good man. No, he's not. He's not a good manager.
And the football's just appalling. If you want to fall asleep when you're watching the match, that's who you appoint. He makes Jose Mourinho look like an all-out attack manager.
Yeah, he's not doing too well, and he's going to be in trouble if he loses the next couple of games or doesn't get results over the next 3 or 4. He's going to be in big trouble. Big trouble.
I don't know how he can be there. I don't know. Don't understand why. I mean, I know Paratici just wanted a defensive-minded coach. That's what happened. But still, yeah, you can't see him lasting much longer, can you? Let's be honest.
No, he won't unless he turns things around. And at the moment, I don't think he's got the squad there to turn things around.
I think the argument is whether it's him or Hasenhüttl that goes first.
Yeah, two of them are right in the firing line, yeah. Or like me, he might be up there.
Who might be?
All like Gunnar Solskjaer might be
they
one of the first. Don't you think so?
No.
I think if they keep playing the way they are at the moment, they will, because they're not playing as a team. They've spent all this money. They've got brilliant individuals, but can't play as a team. And Nuno hasn't got the players and still can't play as a team. So if he's up for the high jump, I'm sure Ollie's in the mix as well.
No, I don't see him as the. No, I think he'll be all right.
You must admit that Arsenal looked decent first, especially first half. Thought he played some nice stuff as well. I know it was against the very poor Spurs side, but you've still got to beat them and you've still got to score the goals. True. And they've done well. They looked attractive as well in the first, especially in the first half. Not taking bets in the second half. They played some decent stuff. But first half, they made at them, and it could have been a lot more than 3-0 at half time.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? You know, which one?
Yeah, it is. Is it the decent Arsenal side or a very poor Spurs side? You know, or a bit of both?
Because for me, it feels like I'm going to say that it's more that Arsenal, Spurs aren't very good, rather than.
Yeah, possibly. It's a tough one to call that, really.
Yeah, I just watched them and I'm not impressed with them at all.
No.
What about you, Rob?
Yeah, no, not impressed. What's going on with Harry Kane this season?
Yeah,
he just doesn't want to be
there.
Doesn't
want to be there. Yeah, absolutely not. And it's showing, isn't it? He's not the same player he was last year. Kane. I thought you can't say he's not trying, but things aren't going for him at all. And he looks a shadow of the player that we all know he can be. He's one of the best centre forwards in the world, I'd say. And he's just not producing the good. And he doesn't look the play. He doesn't look as though he's going to score, to me. I think he's unhappy. And when you've got unhappy players, you might as well let them go rather than keep holding. Take the money and go. Buy someone else.
They should have done that last season. That's definitely what they should have done.
Yeah, I think so. You can't have unhappy players at your club. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, it was a big mistake to keep hold of him. I don't understand what they did, to be honest.
No, they were getting good money. They could have bought probably Lewandowski or someone like that with the money that they got. We're getting for him. It was in excess of 100 million.
Yeah, you could say that.
The club who wants to play there.
Yeah, that rules out Lewandowski then, doesn't it? Immediately. In fact, that probably rules out just about anybody, really.
Yeah, I really fear for Spurs this season.
Yeah, they've made a big mistake appointing Nuno, and you can't see it working out at all, can you? Let's be honest.
Are we all getting hyped up Spurs as one of these big clubs that are going to be part of the Super League? And I don't see it. I don't see Spurs with the record of what they've actually won as a club and the way they've actually performed over the years. How can you class them as one of the big teams who should be in the Super, were supposedly part of the Super League setup? they done to deserve that? Absolutely nothing.
No, it's a joke, Bill. It's a joke. Fair play.
Yeah, spot on.
They're just not a good. They're not. Well, I mean, they have won things, but they're not a. They're not. Yeah, they just don't deserve it, do they?
No, not to be classed in the same thing as, your Liverpools, your Man United even, your Man City and your Chelsea, who you think are going to be, well, it's almost certain they're going to be the top four. But people put Spurs in the mix, and I can't see why. I just can't see why everyone's disappointed in Tottenham. They're doing exactly what I expected of Tottenham to do, and what they've done for most of my lifetime. I'll be honest with you. Not very much.
That's very true, that is. There's one thing you expect of them. It's not much.
Yeah, that's exactly right, just, yeah. That should be on Spurs' gravestone.
You're killing them off already, Bill.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
I know they're struggling, but I think that's going a bit far. Yeah, I'm still not. I'm not convinced though. I'm really not convinced by Arsenal. I know people are saying they played well, but I'm still of the opinion that most of that's how bad Spurs are. They don't offer any threat.
Yeah, I think in that game, yeah, very much so. No.
I've got to say, I've said all season, I've thought they've got lucky rather than they've done well.
Yeah, but Arsenal, to be fair to them, they've done very well against them, and I think they're going to do well against the mid to lower team tables. They'll get results, but I can't see them winning many of the bigger games, the Liverpools, the Man Cities, the Chelseas. I don't think they're going to get many points off them, and it's going to put them as very much a mid-table side, not one of the threats to be fourth. I don't think they're going to be anywhere near fourth or fifth.
No, I don't think does anybody actually expect them to be near fourth or fifth?
Well, they were all being touted by the so-called pundits and experts that they're going to be there challenging for the top four at the start of the season. I couldn't see it, but a lot of pundits were saying that. I don't know where to get their information from, but he was saying it.
When you say that, expert, I can't remember saying it myself. So obviously, you're obviously not talking about you're obviously not talking about real experts, are you, Bill?
Experts, no, not every expert.
Just saying, just thought I'd mention that,
Yeah, I thought you might, yeah.
Yeah, I can't see. I can't see Spurs or Arsenal tearing up trees, to be honest.
No.
Nah. Mid-table mediocrity is the best they can hope for, I think. And I can't see Spurs even getting that. And that's their problem. They're in trouble. They've made a mistake keeping hold of Kane because they've got no money to, they've got no players they could bring in to replace him, but they should have just taken the money anyway and got rid of an unhappy player.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're going to suffer because of it.
If Man City go back in for him now.
I don't know whether they will.
No, me. If you're Spurs, they do. But I can't see them doing it, can you?
No. We've only got one game left. Our Palace game, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Palace.
The Hateful Derby.
And you got this. You got the right result, and the other team got it. Thought Brighton would walk away with this, but it was a draw. Very disputed draw as well.
Yeah. To be fair, Palace were the better side. I watched the game. I thought Palace were the better side. Bit disappointed with Brighton, who I've been lauding. I'm a big fan of Potter, and I expected them to be a bit better than them, or probably thought that Palace were a bit worse. than what they actually are, possibly. But they were the better side, created the better chances. And I thought they were going to run out the winners until the last minute, obviously. But, yeah, I thought Palace done okay. Why they played Benteke, still don't know. But maybe that's just me.
I don't think anybody knows why they keep playing him.
Awful bloody football, isn't he? He is, and I don't know why they keep playing him. I don't know why he gets picked. I don't know why Liverpool signed him. And, I've got a vendetta against Chrissy Benteke, but he's just not a very good footballer.
Can't argue with that, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Bill.
Much as I'd like to disagree with you, because you're usually wrong.
Yeah. I made a living of being wrong, obviously.
Yeah, your missus tells me you've never got anything right in your life.
No, I haven't, no.
Was that a shouting agreement then?
Yeah, it's the dog going berserk because there's a cat in the garden, so...
Ah, right. I wasn't sure. I thought it might have been there saying, yeah, you're damn right, he's never got anything right in his life. He can't even paint properly, is what she was saying.
No, I can't paint. I don't do painting. Get a man in.
You don't have a choice, mate. You might not want to do it.
Trev?
Which one? The Palace Brighton one?
Yeah, did you watch it?
I watched bits of it. Like I was on, but I was falling asleep because it was late.
Yeah, I like the lad they've got from Chelsea. What's his name?
Gallagher.
Yeah. He puts himself about a bit. That lad, and he's got a fair bit of skill. I think he might go somewhere else in the maybe even the January transfer window. I think he's a bit too good for Palace. Yeah. I like him a lot.
Is he only on loan?
Yeah, he's only on loan from Chelsea. Yeah,
he works hard.
Yeah, he's a good player. I think he makes a difference to them, certainly. But I was disappointed with Brighton, I must be honest with you, and I've been long, but they were a bit lacklustre, and they played better games than that. But, everyone has a bad game now and again, so I'll put it down to that at the moment. Because I'm a big Brighton fan, I like the way they play football.
Do you think it's down to the game itself, if you see what I mean? The fact that it's...
the hateful derby, yeah.
Yeah, because it's not a nice game, is it? You know what I mean? It's not a nice atmosphere.
No, it's not. No, it could be down to that, Trish. Yeah, maybe there was a bit too much at stake for the supporters, the teams, and it didn't make for the greatest game, especially from Brighton. And that could be a factor. They mightn't enjoy playing, but they obviously don't enjoy playing them. But they just looked a bit off the pace for me. But I'm not saying they haven't just turned into a bad side. They just had an off game, and that happens in football, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was quite a lot.
We know this weekend.
Yeah, very good point. But you think they'll be all right, both of them, at the end of the season?
Still not sure about Palace. I don't think I was a bit, and I know you have been a bit wary of Palace's manager. He hasn't come with the greatest CV, and I was a bit worried that he mightn't be doing much there. But the last couple of games I've seen them, I've been quite impressed with them. Not over impressed, but I thought they'd done a good job, and they've looked a pretty solid outfit. And as much as I didn't think they would under him, I think they've done okay. And I don't think they're going to get in the relegation battle at the moment. But I really think that Brighton are going to be top 7 or 8, and I'd like them to be top 7 or 8. Big fan of Brighton.
Okay, so we move on to, well, first off, I'll read out the score, where the scores stand on the prediction competition. Because Billy,
Yeah,
you're
go on.
ahead with 18.
Yeah,
Deeps is second
that's a given.
with 17. And Rob is, well, he's nowhere with 5.
Plenty of time yet, Rob. Plenty of time.
He's going to need all the time he can get, I tell you.
Lucky it's a long road.
Being in Australia, he's used to getting time. Just runs in the family, doesn't it, Rob?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, so we'll do the predictions next. I think we'll before we go on to the midweek games. Before we go to any of the European ones. So Man United, Everton. Deeps has gone for a 2-2 in this one because he's not here, so he's given me his predictions beforehand. So which of you two wants to go first this time?
Go on, Rob. I'll give you the next go.
You're not going to like me with this one, but I'm going to go Manchester United 3 and Everton 1.
Oh, right.
Oh. And Billy?
I'm going for Manchester United 3, Everton 0.
Ooh.
I think that Man United have got to start showing something. And Everton are under strength. I doubt whether... Well, I know the Calvert-Lewin won't be playing. Probably Richarlison won't be playing. And I don't think we've got enough to give them a great game. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. But United, even though they're not playing great as a team, I think you've got to show some intent to do better in the league. And I think someone's going to cop one, and I think it could be Everton on Saturday.
Certainly be their best chance, wouldn't it? While you've got all them out. While you've got them out, it's certainly their best chance.
Yeah, I think so, Trish. Yeah, I think that they might give us a little bit of an eye at 3-0. I hope I'm wrong, as I say, but they've got to show something now. Otherwise, they're going to fall off the pace and not be able to challenge. And for a club like Manchester United, that can't happen.
Deeps wants me to read his predictions last. Are you okay with that, you lot?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay. Apparently I've got to do that. I don't know why he wants him last, but that's what he's asking for. So, Rob, you can go first then, mate.
So, the next one?
But oh, sorry. I thought you had it all written down so you knew what we were doing. Burnley, Norwich.
I've gone for Burnley 1, Norwich 0.
Right. And Billy?
It's a 2-0 win for Burnley for me. I've got Norwich. They can't score. They can't score, and they're going to be in trouble. We all know this. They're going to be in trouble. They're going to go down. It's obvious. And Burnley, they've got to start getting results as well. And they need a result, and they couldn't have a better chance of getting one than against Norwich. So I'm looking for a 2-0 win for Burnley.
This is their chance, isn't it, to get up and running?
Yeah.
Deeps has also gone for Burnley, but he's gone for a 2-1. So he split the two of you virtually, really.
Right, okay.
We'll move on to Chelsea, Southampton then. So, Rob?
I've got Chelsea 2, Southampton 0.
Oh, and Billy?
Mine's exactly the same, 2-0.
Wow, and so's Deeps. Wow, so you're all going with 2-0 to Chelsea.
Right.
So that's either you're all gonna do well, or you're all wrong completely.
Yeah, Aston also be made up with that. I think we've all gone for Chelsea.
Right, Leeds Watford next. So Rob?
I've got Leeds 2-0 over Watford.
2-0, right. And Billy?
I'm going for 3-1 Leeds. I think they're another team like Burnley who have to get off the mark. They haven't won a game yet. They've got to get off the mark, and they've got a really good chance against what is a poor Watford. But I'm giving them a chance of scoring a goal because Leeds are so open, like I said before. I think they might concede maybe from a set piece. but I think they will score a couple of goals. And Rafinha, great player, I think he might get one or two. And I think Leeds are going to have far too much for them. And they need this. They need a win to appease the supporters. And I think it'll be a 3-1 win.
Nice. And Deeps has gone for 3-2 to Leeds. So you're all going for a Leeds win in that one. Right.
Yeah.
Wolves, Newcastle. Rob?
I've got Wolves 2, Newcastle 1.
Right. Billy?
Going for a 1-1 draw there.
Oh.
I think Wolves. I think Wolves last week to score a load. He didn't. They got a 1-0 win, but they're a team who shows a lot of potential, and they can win games. We know they can win games, but they always seem to have that little falter, and they don't seem to finish things. And I think Newcastle might get a sneaky little draw. They'll be on the back foot most of the game, but might just get a little goal there to keep them in it.
Yeah, because Wolves have struggled to score, as we know, so it's not a bad shout, that. Deeps has gone for 3-1 to Wolves.
Right.
So he disagrees with you completely.
Yeah, that's not unusual, is it?
Yeah. Well, I think he just likes disagreeing, personally. He is a very disagreeable young boy, though, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Young boys.
Yeah. Brighton versus Arsenal is next, Rob.
I've got that as a 1-1 draw.
Billy? Remember, Basuma will be back for that one, eh?
I'm going for a 1-0 win.
Because he missed out against Palace, remember? So
yeah,
which is probably what cost him, if anything.
Yeah, very possibly, yeah. But I'm going for a 1-0 win to Brighton. I think Arsenal a little bit, it's still a little bit lacklustre for me. It can be anything. You can score 3 goals, you can score none. Same side, playing the same way. But I think Brighton are pretty solid. I think he'll get a goal. I think there's always goals against Arsenal. But I think it'll be a pretty tight game, and I fancy Brighton to just shade it 1-0.
And Deeps has gone 1-1 as well as Rob. So,
oh, right.
Obviously, he's copying Rob a lot on this today. Even though he'd already given me them beforehand. So, but we'll say he's copying you, Rob. Don't worry. Palace Leicester now.
I've got
go on, John.
Palace 0, Leicester 2.
Right. And Bilbo.
Right. I'm going for 1-1 in that game. Palace, couple of decent results lately, do well, and Leicester not at the best. I know Vardy's been very good. I think he'll score, but I think Palace will hold them, and it'll be 1-1.
Okay, Deeps has gone 2-1 Leicester. So, now it's Spurs versus Villa. Robert?
I've got Tottenham 1, Aston Villa 2.
Tottenham 1, Aston Villa 2. Okay, Billy?
I'm going for a 1-1 draw in this. I know I've been very disparaging about Tottenham, but I think they're another side who need to get something out of the game. Otherwise, Nuno's for the chop. So they'll be battling, they'll be trying their best, and I think they might, although I'm a massive fan of Villa, the way they're playing, you're going to have ups and downs in the season, and this might, although, I think they're a better side than Tottenham, I think Tottenham need a result, and I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Right, interesting. So, and Deeps has gone for Villa to win 1-0.
So, that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, now we're on to West Ham versus Brentford.
West Ham. I've got West Ham winning that one 2-1.
West Ham winning 2-1. Okay, Billy Bob?
going for a very entertaining 2-all draw. I think a London derby, there's going to be a lot at stake. I think it's going to be a good game, open, good few goals, and I think Brentford might just get a result with the tails up at what they've got against Liverpool. So I'm looking at a 2-all draw.
It's the same as Deeps.
Oh, right, so he's got the same, has he?
Yeah.
Great minds think alike there.
I don't know what that's going to do with either of you. I think we're definitely in the full seldom differ category here. And the final game of the weekend is the small matter of Liverpool versus Manchester City. So, Robert, take it away.
This is the one that gave me the biggest headache. I sat there thinking for a couple minutes about this.
Wow, that's a long time for you as well, isn't it?
For me, that's a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that after last week's performance against Brentford, I'm pretty sure we won't have any calamitous defensive issues with that. So, I mean, I do think we're going to concede a goal, but I think we're going to get over City. So, I've got Liverpool down, and the home ground plays a factor for me in this game. I've got us down 3-1 because we generally do really well against City at home.
Right, Bilbo?
Mine is a 2-0 win to Liverpool. I think they'll buck up the defensive duties, and I think they're not going to be bullied like they were against Brentford. They've got no centre forward. They would like to play it nice and neat and small passes. And I think Liverpool are up for that. I think Liverpool are too good for them defensively. And I think Mo will get a goal. And I think Sadio Mane will also get a goal. And it'll be 2-0 to Liverpool. Quite comfortable win.
And Deeps has gone against you two, and he's gone for a 2-1 win to City.
That's more hope.
Yeah, as I say, is that hope or expectation? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think we know which it is. Right, should we go through the European games then?
Yeah, fine.
Are we just going to pick out the English teams and the rest ain't really there? Oh, I suppose there is some to pick out. I mean, Ajax Besiktas doesn't really matter to any of us, does it really? Or Inter versus Shakhtar, a bit bored. But
but the Real Madrid one stands out.
Well, yeah, that's why I was thinking. That's why I stopped. That's why I changed my mind as I was about to say it, and the Leipzig one. But yeah, we'll start off. We got Porto v Liverpool, obviously a thrashing at the hands of Liverpool. Yeah, it was a hiding, to be fair. It was one-sided. It never looked in doubt, did it?
And I'm not his biggest fan, but Curtis Jones was marvellous in that game. I'm not his biggest fan, I've got to be honest with you. I've never been his biggest fan. But, hats off to him. He played a great game and was Liverpool's star man in that game. So maybe I have to look at myself and say, you might have got it wrong there.
Yeah, the thing with Jones is he was well behind the rest as a youngster. He wasn't one of the best players. He's worked hard and brought himself up and taken himself above them by hard graft and putting in the work to improve his technique and his ability. That's why I like him, and that's because that kind of player is the ones that go on to make something of themselves, rather than the ones that just have it, it's all handed to them on a plate like. I mean, in the bleep test, I think he was the one that he came second behind Milner in that, if I remember rightly, in the summer. I mean, that takes some doing, you know what I mean? It was him that was right up there pushing him, like. I think he's got some at that lad. I think he's going to go far. I really like Jones.
He really impressed me against Porto, I must admit. Really good.
But I was defending him. I was defending him before this, wasn't it? So on the site when people were criticising him all during the summer, wanting rid of him. I don't understand why they did. I mean, the lad's clearly got ability. They were saying things like he only passes sideways. It's like, Curtis Jones. Have you ever actually watched him play? He very rarely passes sideways. That is exactly the opposite of the kind of player he is. He's not a safe player at all. He's always looking for the attacking pass. he's looking to score goals as well. He's looking to take shots on, and they're saying he doesn't, he doesn't shoot enough and stuff. It's like people were criticising him for the exact opposite of what he is. It's ridiculous. It's going to be a class
He
player.
was very good. He was very good, I must admit.
He was
very good to see.
Player. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. No, sorry. It was very good to see Bobby come off the bench and grab a double, albeit there was some pretty dodgy keeping for his first goal. Very impressed that Bobby's got back on the score sheet. So, very, very positive performance, comprehensive win. Porto, again, they must not like playing us because we seem to put a fair bit of goals in against them. So, we move on from here. Great start to the Champions League campaign.
Something like they've conceded something like 18 goals? Or where is it? See if I can find that stat. They've conceded something like 18 goals in the last few, in Europe and at home in the last few years, and 14 of them have been scored by Liverpool or something like that.
There is a stat like that. I read that.
Yeah, I sent it to you earlier, didn't I, Bill?
Yeah.
And it's like they must hate playing Liverpool. I think the commentator was saying the only English team that's beaten them at home is Liverpool as well. So yeah, I don't know whether that's true. That was just what the commentator said. But yeah, that was a one-sided game. Wait, Paris Saint-Germain versus Man City, 2-0 win to PSG. Is that a shock or not? That's the question. Yeah. Is that a surprise result?
I think it is a bit of a surprise result. I expected City to do a bit better, to be fair. I haven't seen the highlights of the game, but Messi off the mark, I suppose, has been the big factor in that one. But Man City win, great what I've seen of them. I've seen the game. Bit toothless at times. And, I thought PSG deserved to win it. So, maybe it's the case of European football that Man City seem to be carrying around with them. Who knows?
Good goal from Messi as well.
Yeah, you can't fault that. I'm not his biggest fan as a person, but there's no doubt in his ability.
Yeah, I mean, they were better side by far, definitely.
Yeah, they were the better side.
We'll move on to Leipzig versus Club Brugge, which was a shock result. Club Brugge are doing well.
I never seen that.
They're looking like
I never seen the game.
Was on the same time.
Yeah.
Isn't Mignolet playing for them?
Say, especially with Mignolet in goals. I was just about to mention that.
Yeah, but I was going to say he's been their player of the month, player of the season. He's been winning awards for them. It's like Mignolet. I mean, he's such a nice guy, but lovely fella. Really like him, but as a keeper, he was. It wasn't the best at all, and now all of a sudden he seems to have improved. It's quite bizarre. Yeah, he got that. I'm sure he got the Player of the Season award last season for the Club Brugge, and he's been playing well this season as well. It's like Mignolet. We got the same. As he had some kind of body swap or something like.
Maybe that season on the bench did him some good.
Well, watching Alisson, you got to learn something from him, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then there's obviously the big result of the Tuesday was Real Madrid losing to Sheriff Tiraspol, or whatever it's pronounced, of Moldova, of course.
Yeah.
I'm sure you all knew where they were from.
I did actually, because I looked at them last time, so I've never heard of them in my life.
I already knew them from playing from them in the European, the early rounds, like.
Right, I'd never heard of them before last round.
Yeah.
But what a result that!
And they won their previous game as well, didn't they, against Shakhtar? So they got 6 points out of 6, which is.
I know they let me down for a bet. I put them in as absolute saints. Shakhtar Donetsk them, and they let me down for my bet. And I thought I've never heard of them until that time. And then they come out with that result. What a fantastic result.
I think they've won the Moldovan league something like 11 times in a row or something ridiculous. So they're always in the in the qualifying rounds.
They're actually fourth in the Moldovan league, I believe, at the moment. So unless that's become a really strong league, I don't know where they're getting these results from.
Yeah, but sometimes, if you take your eye off the ball because you're concentrating on getting into Europe, because they've never qualified into the actual group stages before.
Well, that's a massive result for them, isn't it? What did them a big lift as not only as a country, Moldova, but absolutely as a club. To say we took on Real Madrid and beat them 2-0. Fantastic.
And it wasn't a fluke either. It was a deserved win.
What a strike to win the game as well. Did you see the goal?
I've never seen the goal. No.
Yeah, I've seen the foot.
What a goal.
Yeah, they definitely deserved it. It wasn't like a shot, a fluke result. They were a better team. As they were against Shakhtar as well. They've been really good. Surprising.
Yeah, good luck to them. Yeah. Good luck to them. I like to see a bit of that Jank.
Yeah. I see young boys didn't do so well on the Wednesday night, though, did they? Obviously, a bit more difficult playing Atalanta than Man United, though, let's be honest.
Was that at the Wankdorf? Was that at the Wankdorf?
No, it was in Atalanta's stadium, mate. Sorry.
Unfortunately.
I know. It's really disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah. They should play all the games at home.
Yeah. Just everyone should play in there. Everyone should play at Wankdorf Stadium at least once in their life.
Yeah.
Probably the other big shock result there is the Benfica beating Barcelona. Well, I don't know, is that a shock? Because Barcelona are dreadful.
I don't think it is.
Does that count as a shock result?
That's not a shock for me.
How long is Koeman going to last there? It can't be very long, can it?
They can't afford to sack him.
But they can't afford to go on the way they are, can they? Obviously things aren't right at Barcelona. We all know that. There's infighting. But they cannot, as a team, be getting beat 3-0 by Benfica. Benfica are in no great shakes, I'll be honest with you, right there. Don't think they are anyway. And for them to get beat 3-0, it's a hiding, isn't it? And Koeman and they've got to break the bank or do something to get rid of him and get someone decent in. Otherwise, they're going to be a laughingstock of Europe.
They deserve to be, though. It's their own fault, Barcelona, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, I've got no sympathy for them at all. But they've got to do something, haven't they? They're a massive, massive worldwide club. They've got to do something to get out of the mess they're in at the moment.
Yeah, they need to sort that out. That I can't see. It's years, isn't it? It's a proper rebuild that they need.
It is, yeah. It is.
Yeah, and
yet you've got that fatty. What a player he looks, that fatty.
I don't need to be like that, Bill. Fat shaming's not a good thing to do, mate. Come on. Call him a bit rotund, maybe, but no need for that, mate. You'll get us taken off the air. We're going to be banned by YouTube for hate speech.
PSG will come in for him.
I'm actually surprised nobody's taken nobody's gone in for him already and taken him. I know they can't really, they wouldn't want to let him go, but can they afford not to? Because they're
$1 billion in
debt. Yeah, they're $1 billion in debt. They can't afford the wages. They're still over their salary cap. They've got to do something.
Someone's going to take advantage of that, and good luck to them.
Him and Pedri are the ones you'd think would be, the first to go.
Yeah. Who's to say they won't in the January window?
Yeah, true, but teams don't tend to have that kind of money to spend in January, though, do they?
I think Man City would have money to spend.
Yeah, they
I'm
need.
sure Man United will put a bid in for him.
City needs a striker, an out-and-out striker, and he's not really that.
Yeah, they
then
do.
Again, go on. Sorry.
Go on, Trish.
I was just going to say under Pep, though. This is Pep, isn't it? And he won't do what he should do, will he?
No.
So Yeah, he might go for someone like that.
He always goes the other way, Pepe. What everyone thinks should happen. He's bloody mindedness half the time, but he just won't do.
Just wants to prove he knows better. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But do you think that's what cost them against PSG, the lack of a striker?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Rob?
I did.
Oh, sorry.
Go on,
sorry,
Rob.
I thought you'd finished, mate. Sorry.
No, yeah, go on, Rob.
Oh, was he gone?
For Barcelona?
No,
Or
we're talking about City
No.
against PSG. Do you think the lack of a striker cost them?
I didn't watch the Man City game, but I mean, 2-0 loss. They probably did. Even in the Premier League, I still think they need a striker. You need a number 9 in there.
Yeah.
Yes, Aguero, big time, don't he? Great player,
Yep.
Aguero. And, you don't have to be the biggest man, but you've got to be a striker. They need an Mbappe, possibly, or I think a Lewandowski would have done great for them, rather than, because he never got Kane. They obviously had ideas of having a centre forward, but it just never came to fruition with the loss of Harry Kane. But they definitely need someone. They've got to buy in the January window.
I don't
And
understand.
who's to say, go on, Chris.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say, I don't understand why they didn't go for Lewandowski. He came out and said he wanted to move.
Yeah.
It was a fresh challenge. Surely that was like him saying...
He put himself right in the shop window.
You've got to think that's the one you'd want, if anyone. Sod Harry Kane, he's not as good as Lewandowski, and his best day, nowhere near Lewandowski's level.
Yeah, he's done a great job for them, I think. But as you said, Pep's got his own ideas, hasn't he? You know what I mean? He doesn't listen to these podcasts, so he might not.
You'd
He
be
might
surprised.
know what's happening.
You'd be surprised, Bill. I'm sure he's the first one to log in every time.
He might be, yeah.
Yeah, except when Abid's on, when of course he avoids it. Right, so we'll move on to because we've not even talked about Benfica, Barcelona really, but we'll move on from them because, it's their own fault. They're shit. Let's be honest, Barcelona, they've caused their own problems. So Juve, Chelsea, 1-0 to Juve.
Yeah.
So last season's champions.
Not the best, really. I watched a bit of this game, and Chelsea weren't at the best, and Juventus could have scored a couple more, and I know it's a little bit of a lull for Chelsea. I still think they're a fantastic side, but a little bit of a lull the last couple of games and not being at the best. And I thought they'd get a result at Juve because I don't think they've been brilliant this season, although they have picked up the last couple of weeks. But I was expecting them to get something, or at least be involved more than what they actually were.
So you don't think Tuchel's being found out then, Bill?
Yes, not yes. I'm giving him the benefits of the doubt here. Teams have off days, but I know what you're saying about Tuchel, and you make a good point about that. Just that he can be a little bit defensive and a little bit pragmatic, shall we say? What he can do is he gets results, but if he's not getting results, it shows bad on him, and it makes him look not as good a manager as I think he is. A bit better than that, but he has to play with a bit more style, possibly than what he's shown at the moment.
What do you think, Rob? Is Tuchel being found out?
I still think they're going to be, they're going to have a successful season. They're still a great team. They can, I agree with Bill, can be a bit defensive. I spoke to my mate, again, the same mate who's a mad Chelsea fan. And again, he was very disappointed with that game. He was also telling me about Kante, so they're going to be missing him for the next couple of games at least. And Saul hasn't had the greatest start either. So
no, he hasn't.
Yeah, but he's low ebb, so you've got to expect him to take a while to get going.
Yeah. Now, I'm not worried about Chelsea in terms of them. I don't think he's been found out yet. I still think they're going to have a successful season. They should have a good run in the Champions League, but actually winning something, that might be a bit off for them this season.
Okay.
That was an amazing stat we got in midweek, wasn't it? When it was revealed that Timo Werner is on the same tally of goals in the last 7 months as Alisson of Liverpool.
Yeah.
I saw that.
That's a great stat, isn't it? That really is a good stat.
Not if you're Timo Werner is.
No, not if you're Timo. No.
No, I'm sure he's probably sat there saying that's a freaking terrible stat, that one.
Yeah. But he was the next big thing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Timo Werner. He was going to wreck the Premiership up, and he's done nothing, has he, really?
And you can't blame it on his, his
Not a bad player.
His issues, like with the hearing and that, because it can't be the loud noise. Because
There you
last
go.
season there was no fans in the ground,
No.
so it can't be down to the noise. And he wears earplugs anyway.
No.
So,
They're
Yeah.
missing Mason Mount too, aren't they?
yes, very much so. I think he's
Big
the
loss.
I think he's the key player for them personally. I know Kante's fabulous player, but I think it's Mount they miss more because he's their key to creation. They haven't and Pulisic as well is missing. Don't know.
Yeah.
And that's Ziyech. I don't understand why they bought him. I didn't understand why they went for him in the first place, and the more I watch him, the less I understand it. He's a really bad version of Mahrez to me.
Yeah, he is that type. He's very Marmite for me. I've seen him play some really good games, but on the whole,
you?
he doesn't do that much, does he?
Have you?
For
When
me.
did you see that? Was that when he was at
Oh,
Ajax?
yeah.
Somewhere? I've never
Oh,
seen
yeah,
him
so-
play well. Ever.
He played all right for Chelsea last season, to be honest with you.
I must-
And he had a few good games, but he hasn't done much for a while now, and I'm not sure where he fits in there at the moment.
I don't think he does, and I don't think. I think they've got a problem with Chilwell. He had a few attitude problems at Leicester before he moved. Seemed to sort his head out at Chelsea, but this season he hasn't played. He hasn't been getting picked, and I don't think that's not a good sign. Alonso's been doing all right, but he's not been doing that well that you couldn't have brought him in for this game, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, he comes with a big reputation, Chilwell, as well. To be a really good attacking fullback, but he hasn't shown much this season, has he?
He hasn't played.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He's been.
Yeah, that's what.
See, the problem with Alonso is, he does well going forward, but as soon as he's just far too often he's vanished when they need him defensively.
Yeah.
And it's cost them when they've lost. And for me, against Man City, he was awful. And I think that's why I think you change him for Juventus if you're
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I would have he would have been the one I'd change, and they didn't. I don't understand it.
As you say, there must be more to it than that. He might be having problems again, so you don't really know.
Yeah, because he does have a a few issues. He has had a few issues. In the
Yeah,
past.
he's got a history. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's got a history. Yeah.
What do you make of Pulisic as a player?
Love him, but he's.
I like him.
injured.
Yeah, that's his problem.
If they can keep him fit, it changes everything. But I just can't see how they just don't seem to be able to. I don't know what his issue is, but it's something that there's something seriously wrong because it's happening again and again and again. These little niggles, and he's out for months at a time each time. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those where great as he is, you're gonna have to seriously consider replacing him because they need someone they can rely on. Right, we'll move on to Man United versus Villarreal.
Now there's a game, innit? Villarreal should have been 3 up at least before. At one stage there, they battered, especially first half. And I feared for United in that game. I thought they were going to get a trouncing. And how they got away with a 1-1 draw. Sorry, a 2-1 win.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And Ronaldo again, that's what he's there for. That's what he paid the money for. Horrible little goal, but he produces the goods, and United win, and everything's rosy again, and it's Old Trafford. But they're not a good side, are they? And they're not going to do well in Europe. Well, I can't see it anyway.
Which one, Villarreal or Man United?
Man United, they look a shadow of a side. They don't look like, I said it before when we were talking about the Prem team, they don't play as a unit, they don't play as a team. There are a lot of individuals, and Pogba is just a waste of space at times. He's got so much ability, but he just doesn't seem to be bothered for me. And big problems at Man United. Big problems, I think.
Rob?
Yeah, no. Again, I got to agree with Billy.
Christ, don't do that, for God's sake.
I have to, because they just, they have, to me, other than...
He doesn't know how to cope when people agree with him. His missus he's been married for 30 odd years or whatever, 300 years or whatever it is, so he's not used to people agreeing with him.
42 years.
420 years. Yeah.
No, just 42.
All right, you're married late. Oh, sorry, I didn't realise.
Blissfully happy years.
To me, they could sign just about anyone, and I still couldn't see him winning anything. I mean, I can keep going on about not getting the good centre halves in, not getting midfielders in. The Ronaldo signing, yes, he's going to guarantee you goals. This is how he is. As much as I kind of envy him in a way, he's a great player, and to be at his age and still be doing it, take my hat off to him. But all over the other pitch, the side of the pitch, it's just wrong, and I can't see him winning anything. I can't see him really getting anywhere. They'll be up there and abouts. They might go on a bit of a run in the Champions League if they can make it out. But other than that, I can't see him winning anything significant with what they've got. Like Bill said, a lot of individuals. So I agree. Players like Pogba just wants to play when he wants to play. And, I personally would hate to have that in my team, because you want someone that's going to, want to play all the time and give it their best all the time and not look good on a highlight reel. So, no, I've got to completely agree with you, Bill, on that one, because I don't see him doing anything.
No, I can't see. And that Darlow scored the goal, but he was the worst player on the pitch for the rest of it. He was awful. And, I was hoping for good things off that lad, come with a bit of a reputation. And I thought he was going to be a good player. He looked awful against Villarreal. Not that and the others didn't, but he looked particularly bad in that game.
I do wonder with a young player like that, though, how much of that is down to the bad coaching they're getting.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think they got a coach. I don't know what they're actually doing there, because they don't set up like a team. They don't work for each other. They don't come across as though they're enjoying playing with each other. It's all about the individual, not about the team dynamic. But players just can't play like that. Give me a Brentford any day over a United to watch, because at least they play for each other and work for each other and play as a team. It's a team sport, not a bunch of individuals doing reels of, highlight reel stuff like Pogba's doing. I'm not picking on Pogba. I think he's a fantastic player, but he's got an attitude problem, and I think there's others there who have got a bit of an attitude. I think Harry Maguire's got an attitude. He thinks he's a really good player, undroppable. He does, and he's not a good player.
Spot on.
It's insane how he's even got to Man United. I mean, do people not actually watch these players play before they buy them? I mean, shocking. It really is.
You can't lay out the money United have without there being some sort of comeback. Someone's got to carry the camp. If they don't win anything this year, or and it's a possibility that they might not even finish in the top 4. If they don't, there's got to be repercussions. People have got to, heads have got to roll. They really have.
When you sign a player like Ronaldo, I don't think even just finishing in the top 4 can be enough, surely.
No, possibly. The money they spent, the 80 million on Sancho and players like, you've got to show something for it. Someone's got to be held accountable for these players coming in. And for me, it's down to the coach. They're not getting coached as a team. It's just sitting back and saying, do what you want to do. There's no formation. There's no substance to what they're doing. And that's, I'm not. If I was a Man United supporter, I'd be more than disappointed. I'd be angry. I would.
I think.
We can just imagine if they didn't sign Ronaldo.
Sorry, Rob.
You can just imagine if the Ronaldo move didn't get through, how much worse off would they be?
Yeah, he scored some vital goals. Yeah.
I think Cavani's a better player for their system. Anyway, better for what they need. A player like Cavani more is what I'm trying to say. He's not.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not getting more game time.
Well, he's been injured, hasn't he? But he works harder, he presses, he causes problems for the opposition. Whereas Ronaldo just, when he hasn't got the ball, he's not going to push. He's not going to chase anything. He'll wait for it to come to him. And that I think doesn't suit United because they need players to put in the effort to make up for the fact that they've got no shape and no system and no tactical acumen behind them. So.
Yeah, there's definitely a problem with the coaching of the side, and the motivation of the coach. Do they respect him enough to be frightened of him? Like people frightened of Ferguson because he was the ex-Sheeran. He was the man who'd tell you when you had a bad game, and we all know about the air dryer and the. Is he like that? I don't think he's that type of person. I think all players seem to walk all over, and that's just an outside view. I don't know what happens in the team. But do they respect him enough? I don't know. I don't think they do. I think he's too mild-mannered.
Do you not think Ferguson's still heavily involved, though?
I think he's got a say.
Well,
I think he's got a say, yeah.
That comment, Solskjaer made about, Klopp blaming them for their penalties, stopping them getting penalties, even though it's clearly wrong because after Klopp said it, they still got a whole run of games where they got loads of penalties. So, not sure how it affected them getting penalties, but there you go. Yeah, but the way he said it was very Ferguson-like. As if Fergie had said, this is what you do. Take the pressure off, talk about this.
Yeah, blame it on someone else. Blame it on the bookie. That's what it is,
It did feel like that to me.
Yeah, it did to me as well, yeah. But I think they're in a bit of trouble. I think not everything's great at the club. But I say I'm not an insider. I've got no inside information. Only what I see with my eyes that they're not performing the way a team that's cost that much money should. They don't seem to have a plan. They don't seem to have a plan of how to play and a system. And as I say, I think what Brentford seem to have more of a clue about playing matches than what United do. And I fear for United because they've got to do well this season. They have got to do well.
The question is, how much better do you think they would be if they did have better coaching staff with the current squad that they have?
Challenging for
They've got good players now. They've got very, very good players. But, it's no good having good individuals. Give me a good team. Everton, to be honest, I've done Everton to get beat 3-0 by them, by the way. So I might be talking through me after you. But Everton, I'd sooner watch an Everton side who try hard and give 100%, even though they might not have the quality. A lot of the prima donnas, you think that the bee's knees, and they don't have to chase up and down, and they don't have to fight for the ball, and they don't have to run around. So give me an Everton instead of a Man United every day of the week.
Okay. Right, I'll just run through the scores as they are at the moment, just while with the English clubs, the British clubs, I mean. Leicester are drawing 0-0 away at Legia. Which is it? Which is that pronounced?
Warsaw,
Legia
yeah.
or Legia Warsaw? I don't know.
Legia,
And the other one is
Legia, I think.
Sparta Prague are now 1-0 up against Rangers. Interesting game, that one, because obviously that Glenn Kamara got racially abused the last time he was in Prague by the fans, but that was against Slavia.
Yeah.
But Sparta have got no fans in the ground. They've only given free tickets to kids at the kids, 10,000 kids or whatever have been allowed free tickets or something. Oh no, Legia have just taken the lead against Leicester. So anyway, so there's they're given, and apparently according to some reports, some things I've seen, but the kids are booing. Apparently that Glenn Kamara, every time he gets a touch of the ball, is getting booed by the kids. For what, I'm not sure. That's what I've just read on. It's hard to tell. I'm not sure if that's true, but just saying that's what's being said. So
if that's true, that's wrong.
Institutional racism, that is.
I'm
afraid.
That's something that,
It happens in them Eastern European countries, I'm afraid.
Seems to happen everywhere, sadly.
Yeah, it's just wrong, isn't it? Just wrong on every level.
Right. So we'll run through the news then quickly then, I suppose. Not that there's much this week. It's been a bit quiet. We'll start with the Derby admin. They've gone into admin. Obviously, Steve McLaren's resigned his position as director of football, but he's working on a consultancy basis and that. And their administrator said they've got a 95% chance of survival. My question is, would that be 100% if Rooney quit?
Possibly.
Just thinking,
is
that a 95%?
Job that's too big.
Oh.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
His wages have got to be part of the problem, haven't they? It's not on a small fee.
No, but apparently he's put money into the club and not been taking a wage for a while, according to reports. How true that is, I don't know, but it was reported that
now
he's been given money to the club. But how true that is.
That actually happens quite a lot. You'd be surprised how many times. I mean, Dietmar Hamann, when he was at Stockport County and he was paying all their bills and everything for a while when he was managing them. And that, it's quite common when a player goes to a team that hasn't got any money to end up half funding them, So it wouldn't be a surprise now they're in trouble.
Yeah, there was an interview with Rooney at the weekend, and he said they asked him, "Have you put money into the club?" And he said, "I have put. There has been a donation by me to the club. So what that is, I don't know. But he's put money into the club apparently."
Yeah. But it's got to be remembered, when he got signed there last season, he came in as a player. He was drawing 2 wages so that it didn't ruin their, so it didn't come off their FFP bill. And he was being paid as a player coach, but he was being paid mostly as a coach. He was being paid more as a coach than he was as a player, so they could get around the FFP. He's taken plenty of money out, so when he's given a bit back, it's hardly like he's, it's the goodness of his art. He's taken he's taken plenty out,
Yeah, that's it. They might be getting another fine yet, so another points deduction. I mean, once everything comes to fruition with the new 2 seasons ago, where he broke FFP before and he hasn't been calculated yet. So they could face another 15-point deduction or whatever they come up with, 12 or 15.
There's actually 2
and then
hanging
they're
over
gone,
their
aren't they? They're not going to get problems.
There's 2 hanging over their head. 1 for 9, which is they haven't handed in
2
their
is there. I
accounts.
thought it was only
There's 1 for not handing in their accounts, and there's another one, I've forgotten what the other one's for, but that one's the 15 points as well, where they've breached FFP multiple times. I mean, they've been doing this for years. They've been cheating, like I said, the Rooney thing. They were paying him as a coach purely to get around FFP.
Yeah,
that's what that was about. Yeah. It's cheating, and they're being caught out, and it should have happened years ago. So I've got no sympathy with them. as a club. It's just a shame
And
for
they
their
get what they
fans.
get what they deserve.
Yeah. And right, we'll move on to
Yeah.
the Bolton thing, cutting the gambling ties. I don't know if you heard about this, Rob.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah. What do you think? Good, bad?
Isn't that what a few clubs are doing?
No, they're the only ones that actually cut all gambling.
Oh.
They've removed kiosks.
I don't really have much of an opinion on it.
But I just think, isn't it a bit pointless when the sponsor of the league, Sky Bet, still has their advertising all over the ground? That's my issue.
True.
It's a nice thought. It's a nice thought and a good, respecting them for doing that. But is it viable? Would you lose? Do you lose sponsorship that you really need to keep yourself afloat by being a do-gooder? I don't know whether you do.
Well, surely
gambling's not good.
So I was going to say, surely football should be doing without gambling sponsorship anyway. They should be cutting it out. It shouldn't be allowed. It should be illegal. Gambling.
In an ideal world, yeah. In an ideal world, but the fact of the matter is, clubs are fighting for survival, and especially with the COVID situation, they need as much money as they can get in. And in an ideal world, no gambling. But if Sky Bet or if William Hill or Ladbrokes come in with a good sponsorship deal for you that'll keep your club afloat, do you take it, or do you have the humility to say, no, I'm not taking that because we're against all forms of gambling?
I think Bolton,
it's a tough one. It's a real tough one.
Surely it comes down to being well run. Bolton are well run now because they had financial problems and they've sorted them out and they've dropped down divisions. And they've come out and said, we do not need the money from from their sponsorship. We can survive without it because they're not spending.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think I don't see it as an issue. I think the problem is football's spending out, more than they can afford to, and that's the problem, not the sponsorship. They should be able to manage without it. Personally, I think it should be stopped.
Yeah, very much so. And if they were all run like Bolton, that's all well and good. Fortunately, a lot of teams aren't.
But isn't that just their problem?
They're the ones who need the cash injection. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
stop playing players.
I'd say in an ideal world,
too much money, like Derby have done.
If you haven't got the money to keep you, I know what you're saying, sir. Yeah, I totally agree. And I say in an ideal world, I'd like to cut all the gambling out. I've had dealings with people with one of my family, a big gambling issues,
Well, I wondered because I know you like it.
I'm a gambler, yeah.
Yeah.
I do gamble.
Whereas I don't gamble at all.
I gamble to a limit, Yeah, I do, yeah.
When the fun stops,
I'm with you, Chris. I don't get into that.
Yeah, I don't see the point in it. If it was a weird, thing to do, bookies would be.
I don't. Yeah, I'm an interest. What would you call an interest better? I like to, like we're doing with the scorecasts and that.
Yeah.
I like to have a little bet. Yeah, they'll beat them, but they'll beat them. Maybe for my own gratification and say, I'll put £5 on that, and I might win £110, for me fiver. And you get a bit of a buzz, you do get a buzz, but you can't let it get out of hand. That's the problem that people have,
What put me off it is my mate's from a family of bookies, and at 17 he's driving around in a Mercedes convertible. So, you just think...
There's no poor bookies.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't pay for that. That came from the bookies. You know what I mean? That came from his parents owning a bookies.
Yeah, of course it did, yeah.
So you just think, I don't think there's much in it for the gambler, to be honest.
Well, gambling is like alcoholism. Moderation is the name of the game in everything in life. And I'm not with pulpits here, but it is about moderation. I like a drink, but I I don't drink
Oh, come
5
on,
nights
you
a week, 6
are.
nights a week.
You can't tell me you
4
drink
it
in
is.
moderation, Bill. Come on.
Well, it's, according to other people that do, but I think I'm quite sensible drinker. I don't drink too much. And I'm a sensible gambler. That's about as sensible as I get.
I was going to say, I've never heard you described as sensible before.
Yeah.
Get your
Not many
missus
people
in.
are.
Go and get your missus. Let's ask her if you're freaking sensible, because I bet she's got a different answer, mate. So we move on anyway.
Yeah,
to the,
she absolutely she would. Yeah, she'd.
Sorry, it was a bit of
I'll have to tell you this story first.
Go on, mate. Yeah.
I'll tell you the story. Went to Vegas with me wife, right? And went on the roulette tables. I say like a gamble. I chips and I put them on the roulette. And she turned to me and she said, "You've just put a leg of lamb on that table. I could have got a leg of lamb with what you just put on that spin of a wheel." Put me right off. Put me right off, I must admit.
A leg of lamb. I've never heard
Yeah,
I've never heard it like that before.
I could have bought a leg of lamb. Could have bought a leg of lamb with what you just put on the table.
Oh God, that's only your missus could think of it that way.
Yeah.
That's something I'll never forget.
A true story, honestly, in Vegas, yeah.
With my uncle being a stand-up comedian, and I used to travel around with him a lot. In those days, when I was a kid, the only places that were open at 3-4 o'clock in the morning were casinos. You'd have to be a member. They would have to be clubs as well. Them days.
Yeah.
And you could get food in the early hours of the morning. So when our John was coming back from somewhere, we'd often end up. When we were coming back, we'd often end up going to the casino for a meal, and then he'd go and play on the machine. He'd go and play on the. And I'd just wander around watching people. Oh, God, I tell you what, some of them, you'd see them throwing down huge amounts of money, and they'd just be hand over fist, just paying out constantly. I'm thinking, not for me. No thanks. No way. You're just throwing it away. Don't get it at all. But anyway, should we move on to this story? I'm really confused about what's going on here. UEFA backing down in their battle over the ESL. I mean, what's happened there? Do you know, Rob?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea?
I don't know why they do something like that, especially when it came about, the amount of backlash and how strong of a stance that they did take. So, yeah, very, very strange. Very strange, and I don't understand it either.
Do you think they've lost in court? They know they're going to lose in court, and that's the issue. Sorry? Oh, God, Ian.
It could potentially be. I mean, for me, it's been something that I haven't thought about in so long that can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I can hear you, Rob.
It's just cutting out a bit. For me, it's something I haven't thought about in so long that I haven't thought about it in a while. So when it came up again, I was like, shit, I thought this thing, I just assumed it was already kind of sorted. So it was strange hearing about it. I just hope it's kind of put to bed, because I don't want football to go down that path, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, who'd be saying that. So hopefully nothing like this can kind of come about again, because what we all felt and what we all went through last time when it was about was quite disgusting, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I was going to say, do you two think it's going to be the?
What do you think,
Chris?
Chris?
Revive the idea, because that's what it seems like to me. I mean, clearly the three that have stayed up fighting, they're still fighting, and they've already, when UEFA have backed away completely from them, and they're not taking the payments, the goodwill payments anymore off the 9 that did back down. So for me, I think this is worryingly like they've they're kind of conceding they can't stop it if teams decide to go through with it? Or is that just me that thinks that? What do you think, Bill? Oh, we've got some serious lag at the moment. Bill?
I hope so, Chris. I really hope that they can't get it through. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, it's just real lag.
I really hope that they can't get it through. I think it'd be the ruination of football. And it's not for me. Not just because we're not part of it, but I think the lower team.
Oh God, connection's gone. I'm afraid. If anyone's, I don't even know if it's still going on the connection went off. Then I'm afraid. I don't know why.
I think if
sorry,
it's
it went off. Then
I
have to go back a bit.
Come into play one day, I'll lose a lot of interest. The feeling I had back then when it came about and clubs were signing up for it and all that, I felt, like I said, disgusted. I felt really disappointed, angry, upset, because that's not the way I want to see football going. I like the way it is. Sure, they make little changes here and there, but this whole Super League, European Super League, I don't like the sound of it at all. And I really hope that's not the road they're going to go down, because I think a lot of fans will get turned off, and I'll definitely be one of them.
Yeah. I can't see how it'd be viable, to be honest with you, if you were a Liverpool supporter. Say you're a Liverpool supporter. How many of the true fans can afford to go to European games every week? Fly to Barcelona, fly to Madrid, all over the place, pay the money. When the true supporters are missing out, and that's not fair. It's just not fair.
Yeah, it just seems very selfish and all about making money.
You hit the nail on the head there, Rob. Selfish. That's what it is. Selfish.
Just the big clubs want to make more money, and it makes me sick. So because I haven't thought about it in so long, I remember the feelings. Like I said, back then when it was coming about and everyone was talking about it, and all these clubs were signing up. It was a real dark week or two in football,
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it didn't feel the same, watching games. I didn't even want to care at that time, because that's not the way I wanted it to go. So even hearing about it now and how the UEFA or whoever it is backed off, it's kind of annoying to hear, because it's not the kind of thing you want to happen again, and moving forward to actually happen. So.
And you could tell by the animosity that other clubs had towards the people who were advocating it. There's a lot of hatred, and you can see why. Why would the likes of, just say, Blackburn and say Fleetwood Town, let's talk about Fleetwood becoming something like part-time. Ruination of clubs, ruination of leagues, the ruination of the game it'd be for me.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's a far bigger issue than. Sorry, go on. I was just going to say it's a far bigger issue than the betting sponsorships for me. If the big clubs walk away.
Yeah.
They should have been handed a way stronger penalty, the clubs that had signed up for it, than what they got, because I think they got off it extremely light, and it's almost not going to stop them from being able to do it again in the future. So even though my club, yes, was part of it, I would have been more than happy to cop on the chin whatever kind of punishment we would have got for doing so, but we didn't. So I don't know what's going to stop them from doing it again.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And Tottenham, you never good, Rob.
I know you think Tottenham should be in there, Bill, but...
Yeah, of course they do, yeah. They're one of the big six.
Oh, God. Bless them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they've got a decent stadium now.
Yeah, they have got a good stadium. Pity about the rest of the club.
See, I don't like it. I don't think it's very nice at all. I know I seem to be in a minority of one, but I just don't like these new stadiums. I just think they're soulless, and that's what worries me about Everton moving from Goodison.
I can see your worries there. Yeah. But you've got to move with the times. You want better things. You want better facilities. And it'd be great for the city as well, because there'd be all sorts of concerts there and other events. And I think it'd be good for the city, personally, with Everton. But that's just maybe me being a bit selfish.
No,
but they are a good.
No, I agree
good
with you.
Thing,
but
in my opinion.
The problem is, I just think it's got to be done right, and I've yet to see one that's done right. They always just end up being a bit,
yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't maintain the spirit of the old ones. You know what I mean? They don't feel right. They seem to be built around making money rather than getting as many fans into the ground as possible. If you see what I mean. You know, they're not about the experience of watching football. They're about the experience of selling as much cack as they can to people that are in there.
Yeah.
That's what they're built around, and that's what I think the issue is. And I think that's the problem that's happening at Anfield as well with the changes. Is while it's great they've kept the original Anfield, the problem is what they're building on top of it is, taken away from what made Anfield great.
Yeah, the streets at the side of it and all that. It was all part of the atmosphere, wasn't it? Times move on, times move on, and I suppose you've got to move with the times, and, they might get the soul back. I know you're saying they can be a bit soulless, but they might get it back, and once a few more do it, it might become the norm, and we'll forget about all these, like Woodison is made of pine and all that, it's actually a death trap, but, it's a great atmosphere, the old lady, but, I've got to move with the times, I think, and, let's hope that it becomes a really good stadium, and it's good for the city. That's what I'm hoping for.
Fingers crossed, but I just hope they don't do it around, it's too much hospitality and not enough football.
Yeah,
that's the issue for me, and that's what you see when you get like Emirates and all that. Like it's not, they're not really football.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're places for people to go for, they're like a cinema rather than a day out rather than a.
And I don't like the corporates where they buy
that's what I was thinking of.
The seats, and then they don't even turn up. And you look at the stadium, and because they're sponsoring so much of the ground, that they don't take up the seats, and there's a big gap in the seats because they haven't bothered going to the game when other supporters could have them seats.
Yeah.
I don't like that better.
Yeah, that doesn't really happen at Liverpool, but that's because people want to go and watch Liverpool play, you see. But yeah, when you're a team like Everton, I suppose that's an issue.
Yeah.
Sorry, Phil, I shouldn't keep digging at you. But but it is.
You're joking. We're all Scousers.
Well, both of you. It is a very real problem, though. Yeah. You're right. The corporate ones. Especially like cup finals and stuff as well. I mean, they're the worst because that's all they are is corporate fans.
Yeah.
It's like, they're ruining the game with it. In fact, that's probably the biggest.
Play the world, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Yeah. Sadly, corporations are going to own everything. I mean, yeah. They decide who gets vaccinated and who doesn't, for starters, don't they?
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't want to get into that because otherwise we'll have to get Phil on for that one. We're going to get into that kind of stuff. Yeah, we'll have to get Phil on rather than
conspiracy theories. Yeah,
that isn't really our forte, is it? So we can have him telling us how a flat Earth is because water's always horizontal, even though it isn't.
Right, boys, that's me for the night, I'm afraid. I'm going to have to go get me wife some tea. Make a tea.
Yeah, about time you made something for her, mate.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've got to do something to keep her in the manner that she's been used to.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, guys. It's been a blast. And I shall see you on the site, and see you next Thursday. Good night, boys. Thanks.
I'll see you next
Thursday.
Ta-ra.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Ta-ra, Rob. Ta-ra, Chris.
See ya.
Don't worry, Rob. It's not like we've got a choice. Nobody else wants to do it, so you're on. Right.
Oh, I enjoy it, mate. I love it.
Oh, good. Because, well, Abid will hopefully be back next week, so you can chat him up a bit more.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I bet. Right, I'm going to end it now before you get too carried away, Kurt, telling us all about him, and how much you love him. So, see you next Thursday, Rob, and whoever's
See you
listening.
next Thursday.
I wonder if Susie's still there. If she is, run a mile,
I-
love. Run a mile.
I think she's in her 10th dream.
Right, that's it, finished.